Hello, children. Today we come to the third part of the chapter where we will study about the Mundas and the Santals. The Mundas and the Santals were another tribes that were found in Bihar, Jharkhand, and Orissa and Bengal. See, these are the and Mundas have also played a very important life in the political history in the political field of India in the present day. The Munda tribe is now political power in Jharkhand. Okay. Now let us come to the Kolis. Kolis were found in Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Gujarat. So there was another tribe, the Kolis, that were present in Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Gujarat. Basically, they were of the fishing clan. If you see the fishing nets here, so these were the people who were found in the coastal regions of Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Gujarat. The Bhils were spread across western and central India. Bhils are an Indo-Aryan speaking ethnic group in western India, that is in the parts of Rajasthan. Right, the present day Rajasthan, we have the Bhils, and here is the tribe that is they are demanding something. This is the type of procession they carry on, and this is a woman who's wearing a Bhil attire. Now let's come to pastoral nomads. The pastoral nomads moved from one place to another with a herd of animals. That means they used to raise animals for their daily use and take them for grazing from one place to another. They survived on milk products and exchanged ghee, wool, etc. with farmers for grain, cloth, utensil, etc. So now these people were the ones who exchanged, survived on milk products and exchange because they were pastoral animals. So they had to exchange the daily product of the animal like ghee, wool, and for other things like grain for eating. Then they had utensils, matlab bartan, and other things for their daily use. The most important trader nomads were Banjaras. Banjaras are also known as nomads. Their caravan was called Tanda. Sultan Alauddin Khilji used Banjaras to move grain to the city markets. Basically, because he had no way of communication or transport, so he had he had put the Banjaras for taking grains. That is अनाज from one place to another. एक शहर से दूसरे शहर ले जाने को अनाज ले जाने को उन्होंने बंजारों को हायर किया था. Okay. This was done by Sultan Alauddin Khilji. Pastoral tribes thus basically reared and sold milk like animals like horses and kettles to the prosperous people. Okay, and when these people they were in need of money, that is cash. They used to sell the animals like horses and kettles. Kettle में आती है आपका भेड़, बकरी और गाय. तो ये एक जब पैसे चाहिए होते थे तो ये इन एनिमल्स को बेच देते थे. Fine. Now let's move on to the next, that is changes in caste structure of India. In the field of trade and agriculture, there emerged a multi-caste population in many villages on account of the spread of Islam. So when the Islam religion spread, they had there were many changes in the society, and now the caste system was multi-caste. That is, many different type of people came into existence. Sufi and Bhakti movement preached equality between different caste and religious group. So now these two religions, the Sufi and the Bhakti movement, they played a very important role in the religious upliftment of the development of the people. They said that no matter to which caste the people belong, they are all equal in front of God. And also they accepted the intercaste marriages which were started between the Rajput and the Muslim nobles. So now after the spread of Bhakti and Sufi movement, there were intercaste marriages between the Rajput and the Muslim princes. Okay, nobles means the royal family. Here is when especially, and this is one of the examples where Emperor Akbar had married a Hindu princess named Jodha Bai. after she got married, her name was changed to Jodhabai. Earlier, she was known as Harku Bai. Alright. Now, with the growth of the economy, new jatis and varnas emerged. So now, when the varna system of the jatis were there, again the Shudras, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Again, the Shudras were divided into two groups. One was the higher class, lower caste, and the lower caste. So the lowest caste was known as untouchables. Many tribes became part of the rule changes. So now, as the changes took place, developments took place, there were many tribes that accepted the new changes for the upliftment of themselves. Like the Gonds who lived in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh, they started playing political role in the development of their people. Then came the nomadic pastoralists lived on milk and other pastoral products. Even these people started gaining political power, and because of the Bhakti and Sufi movements, their outlook changed a bit. And the Banjaras, the ones who plays the most important role during the trade, because they were nomadic traders in one way or the other. Now let's come to see what happened during the 11th and 12th century. Among the Kshatriyas, new Rajput clans became powerful by the 11th and 12th century. They belonged to different lineage such as Huns, Chandelas, Chalukyas, etc. So these were the different clans of the Rajputs which gained political importance in the 11th and 12th century. मतलब ये जो हुन्स हैं, चांडेलाज हैं, चालुक्याज हैं, इन्होंने पॉलिटिकल पावर गेन की 11th and 12th century. और ये थे क्षत्रिय क्लैंस Rajput. They came to be known as Rajputs. Some of these had been tribes earlier. और कुछ तो इनमें से जैसे चांडेल हुन्स थे, चालुक्यास थे, they were tribes. And when they politically developed and became powerful, they started becoming the political representatives of the country. Many of these clans became to be regarded as Rajputs. Now, इनमें से बहुत सारे जो tribes थे, when they became politically powerful, economically powerful, they came to be known as Rajputs. The rise of Rajput clans to the position of ruler set an example for the tribal people to follow. So when these tribes gained the political importance and political power, the other tribes also started getting impressed and wanted to follow and set an example. So these Rajput, when they saw these tribes becoming Rajput clans of politically holding position, the other tribes also got interested in this. The Gans lived in the vast foresighted region known as Gondwana. They practiced shifting cultivation. So now what happened? The Gans were basically people who followed agriculture. And what type of agriculture? Shifting cultivation. The large Gon tribe was further divided into many smaller clans. Each clan had its own Raja or Rai. That means each each tribe of the Gons had their own leader known as Raja or Raya. About the time the power of Delhi Sultanate was declining, a few large Gond kingdoms were beginning to dominate the smaller Gond chiefs. The Akbarnama mentions the Gond kingdom of Gharka Kantiga. So now these people had become so powerful that even in Akbar's biography, it has been mentioned about the Gonds. Gharka Kantiga was a rich state. However, it was defeated by Mughals. Despite that, the Gond kingdom survived for some time. So that this shows that even though the Gonds were declining due to the political, they were defeated and declining, but still they could survive for some time. Then we come to the Ahoms. The Ahoms migrated to the Brahmaputra Valley from present-day Myanmar in the 13th century. They created a new state by suppressing the older political system of the Bhujias or the landlords. During the 16th century, they extended the kingdom of the Chutias and the Khojas, and they subjugated many other tribes. So that if you know, there is a place in Assam known as Chutia. So this was the place. This was the kingdom which was dominated by the Bhujias, or the landlords of the Assam, but they were defeated by Ahoms who had migrated from Myanmar in the 13th century. Thus, they built a large state. However, they faced many invasions from the southwest, and finally they were defeated by the Mughals. Ahom society was divided into clans or khels. The society was very sophisticated. So now, though it was the homes were very were powerful, but they were very highly educated. They were very high in society. They did not follow any rules and regulation of the lower caste. The Ahoms worshipped their own tribal god. However, in the reign of Sip Singh, Hinduism became the predominant religion. But the Ahom king did not completely give up their traditional belief. So what happened now? The Ahom king did not give up his political belief due to some reason.